The design concept of Cabin Anna is really that instead of having a static house with closed boundaries, you actually have a transformative cabin where the boundaries are constantly adjusted by yourself with your own muscle power to what's happening around you. What basically sparked the beginning of Cabin Anna is that my father, he passed away at a young age. He was 55 years old. I was 21 at that time. And in that period, I started having very vivid dreams of him. He would come back to me and he kind of told me, you have to go into nature. He was a nature man. What happened is that I basically did the most literal thing you can do. I designed a house that can open up to nature. I started to heal. I was surrounded by life. I literally came to life. So the first Anna that I built was actually for my mother. Her name is Anna. It's become a really important place for the whole family. Anna is just a place to be, that's it, a place to be. This Cabin Anna is located in Wildlife Reserve de Biesbos. It's the freshwater delta, the only one in Europe. I didn't choose this location. Actually, we got in touch with the wildlife organization. They were looking for a structure that would actually help people open up to the environment and feel at one with nature. This cabin is 30 square meters in its compact form and it can expand to 50 square meters. Another thing that was really important to me in Cabin Anna is the fact that it's demountable. So the whole cabin sits on a screw foundation. So it means that when we leave, you can take the cabin apart, pack it up in your truck and move it somewhere else. So that means that when we leave with Cabin Anna, we don't leave anything behind. This cabin roughly consists of 3 parts. There would be the fixed house. It has inside the kitchen, it has the bathroom, toilet and shower. There's a technical room which you can enter from the back side of the cabin. The other part has the sliding glass layer and the wooden glass layer. Underneath that part there is a bed in the ground that can be stored, and there's a bath in the ground also. And it has a mezzanine with an extra bed upstairs. So on top of that there's what we always call like the bonus layout, is that when you push out the glass you actually create a double-sized space of 50 square meters, so you can basically host a dinner or a yoga retreat or whatever event you can imagine.
Issue 2 of our magazine is all about finding ways to slow down in the city. Take a cue from our sloths. But don't go slow in getting your copy, because this baby is loaded with all the good things. Gentle and joyful urban art that invites us to pause, ponder and smile. Wild and wonderful architecture, and design full of optimism and a determination to do things differently. There are more small homes to explore and get lost in too. Inspiration for living lighter and finding poetry in the everyday. And a shitload of bricks. Get your copy now. Visit nevertoosmall.com/store.
When you arrive in the cabin, there's a place to leave your coat. In the main living space, you see these long elongated windows, and they have 2 purposes. One is that you always have some kind of connection with the outdoors. And the other thing is that they don't allow for any direct sunlight in the summer. So on hot summer days, the main space actually keeps very cool. And then the first thing that will strike you is all these trusses. Because basically the sliding shells only have 2 walls to rely on instead of a normal house which has 4 walls, there is a challenge in its rigidity. By using these trusses, which are cross-braced and reinforced, you make sure that when the wind blows from one side, that your cabin doesn't blow over like that. You see similar constructions, for example, often in railway stations because the train has to go through on two sides. We put a lot of effort in the thermal envelope and we equip the cabin with HR++ glazing, for example, to make sure that even when it's really cold outside, you're going to have a very cozy space inside. The bed is foldable under the ground with a winch system. And that was very important to us because in the first cabin I built for Mum, we had a fixed bed, and every time we wanted to change the use of the cabin, it meant that we had to take out the bed. So being able to fold the bed under the ground just in a couple of minutes means that you're very flexible in the use of your space. Once you store the bed, you kind of have an open plan cabin, so you can host like a dinner, or you can have friends over, or you can have yoga sessions. So the bath in the ground is revealed in a similar way as the bed. It has these floor pieces that you can just lift off, and then there's a special storage to fit them under the ground. I wanted to create this kind of Zen experience. When you're in the bath, you're not disturbed by any lids that are up or hinges that are sticking out. So yeah, to me, the favorite part of the cabin is really the bath under the floor. You cannot get closer to the essence of life. We like to create these little inventions throughout the cabin, and one of them I think is particularly exciting is what we call the inverted Dutch bike brake system. The moment you start squeezing this brake, the brake releases from the rails and you can easily move the 3,000 kilos. But the moment you want to stop, you just let go and automatically it starts braking on the rails, and it helps slow down the cabin shell very quickly. To make most use of the small kitchen space, we actually created a galley kitchen. It's a combination of stainless steel and the birch ply, and we like to work with stainless steel because it's very durable, it's a very beautiful material. It has all the basic amenities that you need. So there's a stove, there's a refrigerator here, and then on the other side you have grid that allows for mechanical heating if your wood stove shouldn't be enough. In the earlier cabins we didn't have much storage. It becomes messy quite quickly. So one thing that we wanted to redesign is actually to have a lot of big storage space that you can fold nicely away. And we just wanted to have like sort of one central storage compartment. And you can fold your folding table in there. This place is about connecting not just to the environment, but also to yourself, to food. So then we arrive at the bathroom. On your left side there's a shower. It's clad in stainless steel to make sure that it's fully waterproof, and it's a very aesthetic material. And then we clad that with Accoya wood to give that like cozy feel. And we picked Accoya because it performs very well in a humid environment. So in the toilet we use the same principle actually. At the bottom it's clad in stainless steel, so fully waterproof. And then we clad that in Accoya wood, and above that we use birch plywood. And then we have this big piece of glass in between the toilet and the shower, so you still feel that strong connection with the outdoors when you're having a shower. Yeah, so we made these wooden hooks everywhere in the cabin just to blend away in the environment, and they're very useful to hang whatever you want. Above the kitchen there's the mezzanine, and we created an extra sleeping place there for when you have guests over. And there's basically the same size bed as we have downstairs, with a little bit of extra storage space on each side. In the mezzanine we have a small extra vent to make sure that you can blow some cool air in the hot summer days. This cabin is completely off-grid. We pump up our water from about 30 meters below the cabin. The wastewater goes into a 3-phase sewage system, which means that it's actually so clean that it can go directly back into the wildlife reserve. The fireplace is connected to the boiler. In the summer, you have your hot water from your solar energy from the roof, but in the winter, when there's not so much sun here in the Netherlands, you actually heat your boiler water just by heating your wood stove. I think one thing that Anna is also really about is that sort of trying to inspire that you can actually put a lot of quality and a lot of functionality in a very small space. So you don't have to live in a 100 or 200 square meter house to actually have architecturally very high quality space.
Thanks for watching. If you're an architect or designer with a project we could feature, please share it with us at nevertoosmall.com/submissions.